Every 10 years, the federal government conducts a census to count every person living in the United States. As you may already know, census data is used to allocate funds to state and local governments for essential services like job training centers, schools, senior centers, transportation, and a whole list of other public initiatives. But what you might not know is that the data collected by the census has another very important function. Census data is used not only to determine the number of seats each state has in the House of Representatives, but it's also critical when drawing electoral voting districts during a process called redistricting. Census data, political maps, districting, redistricting. For those of us not familiar with redistricting, it may all sound a little overwhelming, but no worries. Esmeralda Simmons, the Executive Director of the Center for Law and Social Justice at Medgar Evers College, breaks it down.
Okay, redistricting is the governmental practice of adjusting the district lines, if it's single-member districts or multi-member districts, from which elected officials are elected. So let's pretend that that New York State is a box, and that there are 10 districts. So I would draw lines, and there would be 5 boxes. Well, the 5 boxes would actually not be drawn based upon geography.
District lines are drawn based on the population of an area. Each district is required to have the same number of people in it as its surrounding districts. Redistricting ensures fair and equal representation during an election process.
After the U.S. Census takes place, the decennial census every 10 years, and in our case, the 2010 census that's going on right now, after those numbers are officially submitted from the federal government Census Bureau to the state is then obligated, and the clock starts ticking, to redraw all of these legislative districts on the statewide level, and local governments who have districts as well are also obligated to redraw all of those districts so that all of those districts are relatively equal in number. What does this all mean? Why should we care about redistricting? Well, number one, I'm very proud to say that the Center for Law and Social Justice has been involved in the last 2 redistricting, and we have been involved not only in drawing maps that represent what the black people in New York City want in terms of representation, and I'm not talking about elected officials. We're not talking about incumbents. We're talking about making sure that we have equal rights in terms of our voting capacity and that we're not shortchanged. In New York City, community organizations that care about their community and what the future of their community will be and know where the real community neighborhood lines are and where people are working together for community progress on a wide variety of issues, schools, roads, public transportation, the non-elimination of bus lines and transit lines, are gathering together to try to make sure that their similar people are lumped together within a district and that district truly represents folks who have things in common. We're looking forward to that process again this year, and we're starting it in 2010, and we think it'll go through at least 2012. What it usually means, it means that people have to get acquainted with what redistricting means. It means that people have to define what their neighborhood is, because, you know, all of those things shift over a 10-year period. But most importantly, we have to get the correct census data and make sure that we have an accurate count for each district, and then we have to change the lines so that we have the equal number of people in each district, and we do not dilute minority voting strength. Redistricting is going to affect you whether you're involved or not. So become part of the redistricting movement. Call the Center for Law and Social Justice. Join our newly formed coalition. Make sure your community gets the representation it wants and needs, and make sure that your voice is heard